Well, we are recording,
Suck my
but
balls, pal.
Well, I guess we should start the
No,
podcast.
he has to suck my balls.
You know, whatever. Suck my balls. Nah, yeah.
Oh, suck
my
my balls, you
balls.
ginger do-rat hall monitor. Punk-ass stoolie, who the do you think you are? Suck my balls, K10. That's right, suck my Canadian balls. Suck my balls. No, you suck my balls. Thanks, everybody. Suck my balls. Yeah, whatever. You can suck our balls. Suck my 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 balls.
How would you children like to suck on my chocolate salty balls?
Oh, you mean like a chocolate candy?
No, I mean my balls.
Yes. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another weekly edition of Suck My Balls. Suck My Balls.
Suck my balls. Suck my balls.
Suck My Balls, a South Park review.
Suck my balls.
I, of course, am your host in the heat that can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high, where the air is dry. Your boy, MSG. You might, why is he getting louder? Because I'm verified on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at Matthew, MATHEW_Sheffer. That's right, your boy got a blue check mark. Follow me on Twitter, Matthew_to the Sheffer. And same thing on Instagram, but I'm verified on Twitter. And I am not alone. Normally, well, actually, he hasn't been with us now, I guess, 3 weeks. He's been having some life stuff going on, doing his thing, car issues. Our boy, S to the C to the double OP. Scoop. There it is. Shout out to you, Mr. Scoop Jackson. And of course, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. He's a doctor of hydroponics. He's a doctor of crumponics. That's right. He knows how to dance too. He's a doctor of punk. Did I already say punkonomics? Hydrophonics? I didn't say that. Good. And then I also said you were a doctor. All right. Fuck this. He's a doctor of punkonomics, hydrophonics, crunkonomics, loveonomics,
thugonomics.
thugonomics, rhinoplastinomics, vaginanomics, and he knows wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the promoter and writer of Primo's Pro Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dr. Dirty J.V. Vernola.
I'd go with Booker and Ryder. I mean,
Booker
Joey's
Ryder.
still kind of the promoter. Joey owns it. Joey's the promoter.
I don't know. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
Billy
But,
Corgan owning the NWA, but Nick Aldis technically books and creates everything, right? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You said
And-
you said you had some special shout outs before we got started here.
Yeah. I have one real quick shout out. Last night, my one of my roommates, Fuji, was down at the. This is gonna sound super local for you, Colorado guys. Was down at the King Supers on 100th and Wadsworth and bumped into a couple listeners. Told me about it this morning. I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys. You guys are right by the gym, so like come swing by the gym one night, say what up.
Well, shout out to you. And if you are listening to the show, just shoot us a quick email, suckmyballspod@gmail.com. Let us know it's you. And I'm sure Joe could definitely hook you up to some wrestling events in the future. So,
Oh hell yeah.
suckmyballspod@gmail.com. Hit us up, or just shoot us a, tweet on Instagram, suckmyballspod. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at Matthew_Shaver, because I'm verified. Yeah. Blue check mark. That's right. I'm a real boy. There ain't no Pinocchio nose extending and lying. I'm not dying. And there ain't no donkey jackass here. It should be clear. I got a blue check mark.
I don't need to be verified because no one would ever want to pretend they're me.
Well, for those wondering, why does this guy get verified? I work for local news as a photographer, so I need to have, I wanted to be verified, so that way if I actually put out information, stuff I shoot, edit packages, like it'll be pertinent to the community, not just some random guy posting it online. So that is why you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Matthew_Shaver, because I'm verified. Check. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of verified, somebody who's going to try and get a new identity on this episode is our good buddy Butters, because this episode is titled Marjorine. And if you haven't figured it out yet, because I've kind of bantered on there about being verified, this is Suck My Balls, a South Park review, where each and every week we review South Park for you in linear fashion. That means we review this thing in order. And this week it is the 9th episode of season 9, and it is the 137th episode of Suck My Balls. This episode is titled Marjorine, as it debuted on October the 26th, 2005. Give you a little backstory here. As I mentioned, Butters, he's going to have to fake his death, dress up as a girl, and then he's going to have to infiltrate a slumber party in order to retrieve the time device for Cartman. And Cartman is convinced that the girls have them. He has these time traveling, time device.
Future telling device.
Future telling device.
Yeah.
And for those wondering before we get started, what is the device? Guys and girls will both know this as a child because girls made them all the time. It was the paper mache little question games where you put 1, 2, 3, 4 on the outside. On the inside has a color, and then on the underside of those colors would usually have either another number and and then under that would be like the answers. So you pick your number, you pick your color, and then it's not going to be rich. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick your color. ORANGE. Signs point to no. So obviously that's what happened. Now, as boys, I'm going to be honest. We wanted that thing. We didn't know how to make it. We secretly we would look at this and be like,
how'd they make it?
I want that thing. I remember dating a girl at one point, like later, 5th, 6th grade, and be like, can you just make it, but don't put the answers? She's like, what? Like, yeah, just do the first part, do the second part, but don't put the answers, just so I can.
I'll write everything.
I want to put answers. She's like, okay. So I did it, and then, you go to school, the boys' locker, but we changed them instead of, signs point to no or yes to Billy got raped in the ass. Oh, you got raped in the ass, Billy. It says right here. Yeah, that's your life. Sorry, Billy.
Enjoy jail.
You just change it to tons of different things. But yes, guys, we secretly always wanted those, but we just didn't want to have to ask a girl how to make those. We'd play MASH, though. I played MASH. Remember that game?
Yeah, I remember
MASH. Anyway, let's get to this to our school kids here. So Cartman gathers up the boys in his basement, and he explains to them on videotape in which he caught footage of the girls using a cootie catcher, also called a popper or a fortune teller, to predict the future. And he doesn't realize it's only a game. He thinks it's a real freaking thing. He's like, so we have to get this secretive, high-tech future telling device away from the girls because they shouldn't have all that power. So Cartman basically tells the other boys that we must steal the time device. Go ahead.
If Cartman's worried about women having too much power at that age, and I mean, obviously, in like the grand scheme of things, women are very far behind, but like relationship wise, women usually run that shit. So like Cartman is in for a rude awakening in about 5-6 years when
okay, I didn't know we were quoting Beyonce this morning. Who run the world, girls? Anyway.
I'm a single lady.
All right, so let's go to this clip here as the episode starts off with, as I mentioned, Cartman in his basement explaining to the boys, we can't let this shit happen. The girls are coming.
We don't have a lot of time, so I'll cut to the chase. The girls at our school have been hiding something from us. Hiding something huge.
Wait, I gotta pause this. I love how this scene is introduced with Cartman in dismay.
And he's in a lab coat.
Right, but he's dismayed, like, you know what I mean? He's in his lab coat, hair's all funk everywhere, like he's been up for days trying to figure out this conspiracy.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Emmett Brown a bit.
All right, let me reset this here because I don't want to miss the first part of Cartman rocking down this.
Hi, gentlemen, thank you for coming. We don't have a lot of time, so I'll cut to the chase. The girls at our school have been hiding something from us. Hiding something huge. What? What if I were to tell you that the girls have a device which allows them to see into the future?
The future.
What? How do you know? The girls do not have a device that shows them the future, Cartman. That's retarded.
You, sir, mocked Cartman before, yet you two sit here demanding answers. Now, damn you, let him speak!
Yes!
Yes!
Thank you.
So good.
Thank you, Cled.
Thank you, Dad.
I'm afraid it's true. I secretly videotaped the girls on the playground yesterday using my Wellington Bear video camera. I caught the following images on tape.
Best moments.
I warn you, these images may be too shocking for young children.
Okay, I'm not looking.
Video playback says.
I can see the girls. They're playing with their fortune teller.
Okay, baby. What do you want to know? I want to know if I'm going to live in a big mansion in the future. Okay, let's find out. Ready? Pick a number.
Pick a number.
1,
All right, you get it. We explained how this thing works.
Yeah.
But yes, first off, that is my favorite Clyde line of all time.
Oh yeah.
And I would say this, because of that line, it makes this episode like a top 25 for me, just because of that specific line. You sir have marked Cartman before. Now let him speak.
Yeah.
Yes, just because it's like, Clyde has seen Cartman have to come up with so many different ideas, and Kyle and Stan be like, "That's dumb," and then it ends up happening. So he's just like, "Shut up, let him talk."
Right. Yeah. It's
Thank you, Dad.
right. Like even Cartman's like, whoa.
Thank you, Dad.
Okay.
I was not expecting that. So yes, they see on that video, as we mentioned there, the girl started to play with it, the time device. So following that, they construct a containment center, which is complete with biosuits, a quarantine shower. It's got a housing unit now to store the device in order to study it. And then they're going to come up with a plan on how they're going to steal it.
Like it's alien technology. It's great. It's like Area 51 in ID4.
Right? So following this, they decide that the best way to infiltrate the party, to infiltrate the girls, is to do so via a sleepover. And they're going to come up with the idea that Heidi Turner is going to have a sleepover party. So they come up with 1, 2, 3, kind of not it, whatever situation, to see who's going to pretend to be a girl and sneak in to the slumber party. And of course, our level Butters is the one that's volunteered. And after doing so, they say, well, Butters, the only way that we can convince the girls that you're a new student and not Butters is you have to fake your own death. So they get a pig and they go to the top of the building and they drop the pig off. You see Butters' parents down there. Come down, son. You'll only be grounded for a couple of weeks.
We'll only ground you for 2, 3 weeks at most.
At most. Pig jumps, quote unquote. Butters looks like he dies. Mom freaks out and screams. Right? And then very nice. And then so Butters dies. So let's quote unquote dies. So let's go to that scene here really quick of Butters, if you will. The pig remains jumping off the top of the roof. Actually, let's do this. We're going to start off with this cop showing up at Mr. Stotch's house to explain to him, sir, you better come with us. And then it'll get to the Butters scene here.
Mr. and Mrs. Stotch.
Yes, what is it, officer?
You better come quick. Your son is down at the Bowery building threatening to kill himself.
What?
Butters.
Don't do it, son. You have too much to live for.
Oh my God, Butters!
Hannah.
Darling, Butters, we don't have the dead pig quite ready yet.
I got some
Butters, whatever's troubling you, this isn't the answer. Look at all these people who've come out for you. Just come down now, son, and we promise we won't ground you for more than a couple weeks.
Oh, jeez. Now I'm gonna get grounded,
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Step down, Butters.
Oh, he's coming down.
He's coming down! Oh, thank God!
No, wait, what's he doing?
Okay, 1, 2.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my God!
He didn't make it.
The doctor!
No shit, he didn't make it.
This is the stupidest part.
Right.
The doctor comes up, places his hand on a dead pig heart. He's dead. Well, yeah, no shit.
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it. And secondly, if you're a doctor, you probably should be able to know that that's a pig. when you're looking at the dead remains.
Apparently, I know they use pig carcass in medical school because of the similarity, obviously, other than the head, but there are like a lot of similarities in the torsos or something.
Right. I get it. There was a pig head, obviously,
Right.
Yeah.
But like we don't know what exploded and what didn't because you can see that thing just splatters when it hits the ground.
Sure.
But Yeah, and we have established in this series that Mrs. Stotch is not the most mentally stable of people. So like seeing this, fake or not, like would definitely like fuck her over.
So let's jump over to the very next scene now. The funeral. I think the funeral is pretty funny here as well.
Yeah. Oh, don't go down there.
My son is dead!
Cartman now.
Yes.
Nice.
Right?
And he shall be
That-
remembered as a
that-
peaceful little boy who
Fucking
won his
sadist.
parents'
Butters.
hearts. Lord, as we commit this child's body to the earth, may we ask it be the last child you strike down so mercilessly? We know this request to be futile, Lord, but just thought we would ask.
Oh yeah.
No! No, Butters! No! Don't put him down there! Don't put him down there!
Now we're back in school.
Okay, children, let's take our seats.
This is all in
Now,
like
I
the
know
course
that
of
we're
a
all still in
day.
deep, deep mourning over the tragic death of our classmate Butters.
Who's Butters?
Who?
Who's Butters?
That's
Fucking Red doesn't even know who Butters is.
right. So now Butters is quote unquote in South Park universe for now. He's dead. Butters does not exist. However, we are going to be introduced to a brand new student. Her name is Marjorine. She arrives the very next day at school dressed as a girl. That's Bean Butters. So Marjorine is going to get invited to the sleepover by Heidi because Cartman tells her mother that she's the governor's assistant and she should respect her authority.
Ta.
And so, yes, we get to the sleepover here. During the sleepover, initially, Marjorine is made fun of for looking stupid, as girls do, locking herself in the bathroom afterwards. Afterwards, Wendy decides that maybe they were a little too harsh on her, so they decide to give her a makeover, and then they start partying. So let's go ahead here, and we'll jump over to the sleepover, Joe.
When they start playing light as a feather, stiff as a board, and Butters just freaks the fuck out. That like we have the best Clyde Donovan moment ever. This is like a top 5 Butters moment. This and like the Vampire Kids, where like he just doesn't understand that these kids are acting like they're embracing the occult and not actually in the occult, and just freaks the fuck out. It's just fucking mwah.
All right, so we're going to jump into this next clip of the sleepover here. I do want to play the tail end of this here of the classroom scene with Carmen.
She's buying it. Glad to say she's buying it.
I just want to just play it.
They've batted hook, line, and sinker. This is going swimmingly.
Going swimmingly.
Heidi, sweetie, I'm just gonna set the snacks over here.
Okay, Mom.
Oh, and Heidi, there's going to be one extra girl coming to your slumber party.
Who?
The new girl in your class, Marjorine.
Mom, I didn't invite her.
I know, sweetie, but I got a call from Marjorine's mother.
Her mother?
She said Marjorine is having a really hard time being in a new school. Her mom asked me personally if we could have Marjorine over. And besides, her mother told me that she works as a state official and that I should respect her authority.
I like how instantly like, oh, it was Carmen as soon as the line comes.
Yeah, exit right.
Carmen's the one who called her. So they have the party, as I mentioned, you know. But while that's going on, there is a little bit of a side story, and the side story is this: is obviously Butters is dead. Dead. There's dead. Don't go down that road. So what's gonna happen is Mr. Stotch goes to answer the door, and it's that guy, and he's gonna tell him about don't bury your son in the Indian burial ground, Stotch. Dad
Is better.
Dad is better. That's why I say this is like one of my top 25 episodes, because this is so many good lines in it. So let's go to that now as he answers the door as the milkman guy and the farmer guy arrive to tell him why he should not bury his dead son in the backyard or any burial ground.
Oh, Butters. Oh, Butters, I miss you so much. Mr. Starch, I know what you're thinking. Who are you? I came to talk you out of it. You need to just accept that your son is dead. Not try to bring him back. Bring him back? What are you talking about? I know you're thinking of putting him up there. The Indian burial ground up that road. You're thinking if you bury his body there, it will come back to life. But sometimes dead is better.
That is better.
Indian burial ground? It's been done before.
Don't do it, Starch.
The Nelson boy back in '85. You're saying if I dig up my son's body and rebury him at the old Indian burial ground that I... Don't do it, Starch. What comes out of the ground ain't the thing you put in. The Indians knew that. That's why they stopped using it when the ground went sour. I'm just here to talk you out of it. Don't bury your son's body at the Indian burial ground, Starch. The one that's right up over there behind the Anderson's barn. Sometimes, dead is better.
He just gave him the whole blueprint on how to do it. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, if you know any kind of horror movies or any horror fiction, you know right away what that's ripping off. Not ripping off, but paying homage to. They do such a great job of it.
There's so many times, probably at least once a month, I'll just yell out, "Don't do it, Starch! Don't do it!" And people are like, "What?" Like, "Don't do it, Starch! Dead is better."
Oh yeah, no, I'll go dead is better, like a lot.
You sir have mocked carbon before. Anyway, so after failing to hear from Butters for a couple hours, the boys are going to reach out to him because now Butters, after crying in the bathroom and the girl's feeling bad, they decide that, you know what, all you need is a makeover. So they give Marjorine a makeover, and now she's one of the girls, and they're dancing and having fun. And this is another great funny scene as well, as Cartman calls into Butters, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And Butters claps back, but he does so in his Marjorine outfit with Heidi's parents there. It's a really funny scene.
Anything?
He's just dancing around. That son of a bitch.
Marjorine, sweetie, your mom's on the phone.
My mom? Hello?
Butters, just what the fuck do you think you're doing?
Well, I'm just having some fun with my girlfriends.
You aren't there to have fun, you black asshole. You're supposed to be getting the future-telling device.
Well, I'm working on it.
Working on what, your dance moves?
Now look, I'm getting pretty sick of this. Well, I put myself through a lot, and you can't talk to me like that. Mom?
Just do what you were sent in there to do, dickface.
Oh, then we jump over, and Mr. Starch does bury his son at the Indian burial ground.
Yes. And like, I love while Marjorine Butters is giving Cartman a bunch of attitude, that Heidi's dad in the background just like gets angrier and angrier. Like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
I like how the mom is not really shocked though. The mom is all like, she's like, "Oh."
This is how preteens talk to their parents.
Right. All right. So now let's go here to Butters, Marjorine, not fucking around anymore now, to trying to get the future telling device.
Hey, Marjorine, you want to know your future?
Could I hold that?
Sure, here, you do my future.
How?
Well, you know, it's easy. You just put your thumbs and index fingers in here.
Ow.
Aha! I knew it! Boys at the slumber party!
He's
a boy
got
here?
such a dad bod too.
Stand back! I had a great time tonight, but I gotta do what I was sent here to do.
And he's holding it like a gun.
He's got the dynamite.
He's got the device.
Tango, 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 we've got it. Let's get it to the containment center, go. Come on, Butters.
No, that time device is nothing but trouble. I'm done, and I'm going home to tell my mom and dad I'm not dead.
Right?
Yeah.
What the hell?
We have the device now.
Anybody have a piece of paper?
Anybody have a piece of notebook paper so I can make another one?
It's so good.
Okay. So after giving the device to the boys, before going home, tells parents he's not really dead. The boys decide that the power of possessing the device is too great and dangerous for them to withhold, so they decide that they're going to have Kenny blow it up on the device rather than defend it from the girls, the CIA, the terrorists, Russia, and of course the resulting explosion is going to be so big it can be seen from space. Damn, Ken. So let's go ahead here. We'll jump here to the end. Also, I like how when Clyde arrives back, I think he's got the device and he then runs in to take a shower really quick. Get in the containment field. Get in the containment field. So let's start right there, and then they'll come to the conclusion that they should not hold on to this device.
Containment field.
Clyde runs in, puts in the containment field, and then gets butt naked and rinses himself off.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my gosh. To get into the containment field. So now Butters, he arrives back at home, and they think he's a walking zombie.
Yes.
But he's...
Emma!
Hello? Can I really come in?
It's gone. Heaven. It's gone. Heaven, forgive me.
Hey, Mom and Dad, I found it!
Oh, God, it's terrible. What have I done?
I guess you're probably a little surprised to see me.
It isn't right! Make it go away!
I guess you're a little surprised to see me.
All right, so now we get to one of the big climax scenes here is Cartman wants to ask it a question. The boys are going to go back and forth on who should ask it the first question, but that leads to the development that having this might be too much power for them.
Gentlemen, this is a historic day for all boy mankind. In a few moments, we will know the future.
Hold on, guys. We're not sure what this device is capable of. Maybe we should wait until we've had more time to study it.
No, we don't have time for that, Stan. It's time to ask it a question. How come you're gonna use it first? Because I do, Clyde.
I want to use it.
I'm asking the first question. Let's just start with something simple. Will Kyle die before he's 20?
Wait, I don't want to know that.
Ask it if the Broncos are gonna win on Sunday. Nah, dude, then it won't be fun to watch. We all just shut up so I can do this.
You shut up, asshole. I don't want to know when I'm gonna die, fat ass.
Guys, stop!
Look at what this thing is doing to us. Butters was trying to tell me something outside the house. That this device is nothing but trouble. I think I know what he meant now.
How could it be nothing but trouble?
We risked everything to get it from the girls. How long before the girls attack us to get it back?
Think of the power.
Yeah. Forget about the girls. What about when the CIA or the Russians know we have this? They'll come after it for sure.
Maybe we should take it to someplace safer. And then what? Hide forever from the government? From the terrorists who want to use it for evil? Maybe nobody is meant to have this kind of power.
You mean destroy it?
Bradley Biggle.
Are you guys nuts? After everything we've gone through? We got it away from the girls, that's what matters. But now the right thing to do isn't using it ourselves, then we're no better than they are. Think of the power!
Think of the power!
All right, so Butters is still locked up in his chain and in his basement now, as his parents have got him locked up like a monster. They're killing people to try and feed it to him. Feed! But before we get to that conclusion, as I mentioned, they're going to light an
Never
explosive.
know the future. Nobody will. That's the way it's supposed to be. Hit it, Kenny.
Hit it, Kenny.
I love it.
So much from space.
Right, he's like Danny McBride in Tropic Thunder.
Damn, Ken.
Damn, Ken.
Here, you see?
And here's the end of the
It's
episode.
going to be all right. Hello, son.
Hello, son.
Hi, Dad.
He was supposed to stay dead.
Mom, Dad, can I come upstairs now?
I'm sorry, son, but you're a demon spawn now. You're an abomination.
Can I please just have something to eat? Well, I'm pretty hungry.
It's hungry.
Hungry.
Yes. It must
He
feed.
needs to feed.
It must feed.
Hello, I'm Rachel with Quality Curtains.
Oh, yes.
See.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Which room are we looking at?
The
Just
basement.
follow me to the basement.
Yes.
The basement.
Oh my, it's pretty dark down here. You sure you need curtains? Oh my God!
Hello.
Hello, I'm Butters.
Little boy, what are you doing down here?
God.
Go, son. Eat.
What are we becoming?
Come on. Don't watch it feed.
Can I just have SpaghettiOs?
Can't I just have some SpaghettiOs?
And that's how the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen, with Butter's last line. Can I just have some SpaghettiOs? So that's your full recap, guys. We'll be right back after a quick word from our Spreaker sponsors. Please give us a 5-star review by visiting Suck My Balls Pod on all of your podcast catchers, as well as you'll hear the promo plug as well. We'll be right back. Subscribe to Suck My Balls, a South Park review on Spotify, Apple's, iTunes, anywhere you want to download a podcast. Just type that in, subscribe to our feed. You'll get the latest, greatest episode each and every week. You can also listen to us on YouTube and go back and watch some videos or any of our library. It's all there. Suck My Balls, South Park review. And we are back. Once again, shout out to our sponsors provided by Spreaker. If you feel so inclined, please support them as they support this show. Joe, do you want to start us off with some trivia?
Butter's female name, if you haven't figured it out by now, Marjorine, is a take on margarine, which is a substitute for butter.
Butters.
Butters, margarine, butter, margarine. So easy. Brimmy makes a reappearance with the boys. Pip Parrot is seen in the classroom, but is not seen with the boys because fuck Pip. Clyde Donovan can put on a great English accent, as demonstrated by the scene where he defended Cartman. His voice also changed to a much less nasal and not so deep voice, which is actually really difficult to do. Bradley
You served Max Cartman before, yet you two sit here demanding answers. Now, damn you, let him speak.
Mintberry Crunch, aka Bradley Biggles' voice. Mintberry Crunch was deeper than normal when the boys were talking about the dangers of the future telling device. When he spoke, it was more or less a voice that sounds like Craig's.
He's also missing, I think, a stripe from his hair. I think later on he's got a little bit of color stripe, like a white stripe, I want to say.
Right, yeah. There was something slightly off, but I'm like, yo, that's Bradley.
Yeah,
that's Mintberry fucking Crunch.
Mintberry Crunch!
The Stotch's basement has changed completely since the return of the Fellowship of the Ring to the Two Towers. They might have cleared it out to make space for Butters as being a demon spawn. They may have retrofitted the basement to be a dank pit for Butters. Yes. The scene in which the boys get caught by Heidi's father is reminiscent of the scene in Scott Tenorman Must Die when Jimbo, Ned, and several others are caught watching Mrs. Tenorman taking her clothes off. Because
Ned, Mrs. Tenorman's unleashing the girls. Let me see.
Let me see. And then he's like,
Ned, are you jacking it?
Mm-hmm. Heidi's name is finalized in this episode. It had changed back and forth a couple times. Before this, she was called Marcy in the episode, probably.
Right.
Annie Knits is seen in class, but not at Heidi's slumber party. This is the first time where we see Heidi Turner in Garrison's classroom. Matt and Trey claim they find this episode hard to watch because they put so many ideas into it and it comes across as unorganized and a friendly reminder to keep future episodes similar. They basically tried to put 10 pounds of sausage in a 5-pound casing.
Yeah, I mean, what they I think if they had not gone with the Butters side story, it probably would have been a better episode of them. I think if they had just stuck to the time traveling thing, time device, right?
The time device thing, yeah, it definitely, that B story, even though it's an homage and a parody, which we're going to get to here in just about 30 seconds, it would have been strong enough to be its own episode. So
the B story you're saying with him locked away?
It would, like, I'm saying you could put that in 2 different episodes.
See, I would agree and disagree, because I just don't think that second story is strong enough to even be a full episode, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
And maybe that's just because I enjoy the source material.
Gotcha.
Right? But which again we'll get to. This is really, the end of this episode is especially surprising due to the fact that Kenny survives that giant explosion that could be seen from space.
Right.
So moving on to the pop culture now, as I alluded to just about a minute ago, there are several Stephen King works alluded to in this episode. The farmer with the New England accent persuading Stephen to not bury Butters in the burial ground is obviously an allusion to Pet Sematary. Linda throwing herself in her son's grave is reminiscent of Salem's Lot. Just the book version, though. It's not in the movie or TV. I can't remember how they adapted that, but I know there's some kind of adaptation on some sort of screen. There is another sighting of the IT poster, which, as we know, is a parody of the 1982 Steven Spielberg classic E.T., and we see that this time in Heidi's basement. It has appeared in several other bedrooms and basements. In Heidi's basement near the stairway, there is a poster featuring twerp stalls, which is a spoof of Bratz.
Oh, dumb.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, if
My
you
sister
have
was into that. Yeah,
I was gonna say, if you have a sister, you know what these are. Kevin mentions that their plan to dress up Butters is pretty much dead on the plot of Juwanna Man, which is actually more or less kind of a ripoff of Shakespeare. That and She's the Man are both just giant Shakespeare ripoffs, but trying to get, never mind. People that would, kids that don't like Shakespeare to get into Shakespeare. Butters' epitaph reads.
Hold on, before we move on, I just want to explain. Juwanna Man, pretty good movie. If you've never seen it, came out 2002. For those who didn't see it, it's like about a basketball player who gets banned from the NBA, so he dresses up a chick to play in the WNBA.
It definitely has its moments. It's really funny, but I don't know if it could be done today, 20 years later, because you can't, women look like, because like it's, and I'm not saying that's wrong. Like
it's a movie that's in its time period.
Yeah, it is definitely a product of its time. But there are definitely parts of it which are pretty funny. So
go ahead and say my name and then this next one. It's a beautiful name.
Yes. Butters' epitaph reads, Jesus said, "Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give ye rest," which is from Matthew chapter 11, verse 28.
Welcome.
This is in the King James version of Matthew.
According to Steel Pulse, though, it's not, that's just a version of your King James version. It's not the one that came out of Africa. So anyway, go ahead.
Right. That's why I tried to specify the King James version. The side story with Stephen Stotch, as we said earlier, is direct parody, homage, whatever the hell you want to call it, to Pet Sematary by Stephen King. The scene when Butters is, and I don't know if they pointed out here, but the character itself, not only just the New England accent, but the character itself is like almost spot on, dead on for the character from Pet Sematary. I believe it was played by Herman Munster.
Dead. is dead, son. Don't bury your dead son in the cemetery. The one up north, just behind
the Anderson's farm.
Anderson's farm.
The scene where Butters is knocking on his parents' door after he gets the device is an allusion to a famous short story called The Monkey's Paw. If you were unfamiliar with this Monkey's Paw, you've probably seen it on The Simpsons because The Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it.
Treehouse of Horror. The scene at the slumber party where the girls do light as a feather, stiff as a board is a direct reference to the movie The Craft and the earlier 1987 movie The Gate. It has since become a common slumber party game. It was common way before those movies. That's why those movies did them. The girls are shown dancing to Rock Your Body by Justin Timberlake. In the opening of the mission briefing scene, the music is reminiscent of the evacuation scene from Independence Day, which I think I called out. And then a box for the board game Twister is seen in Heidi's basement.
All right, so because you brought it up, I don't want to forget it. It's a good scene. Let's go to the light as a feather really quick here. And the scene itself where Butters freaks out. I forgot to play that clip.
It's so good.
Forgot to play that clip earlier today.
We can play Girl Talk. All right. I brought the new Justin Timberlake CD. We should dance to it.
Oh,
yeah, that'd be fun.
How about we read each other's futures?
I know. Let's do light as a feather, stiff as a board. Yeah. Who wants to go first? I will.
Oh, geez. Are we gonna start lazing out?
They all what?
Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Jesus, what are they doing in there?
God only knows the horrors that go on at girls' slumber parties. Let's just hope Butters can survive it.
Witches! You're all witches!
Just didn't want to I forgot to play that scene earlier, so didn't want to pass over that. So yes, that was your trivia and references to pop culture that Joe read off. I recapped the full episode for you here. Let's kind of go over the last couple things here. Joe, what do you like about this episode?
Obviously the scene we just pointed out, the you have not caught me before. The A plot of it is really good because it just like again kind of points out the stupidity and naivety of children, specifically boys, to believe that like, yo, this shit is legit. Like I mean, had they done a Ouija board or some shit, I'd probably bought into that too. Like,
I was gonna say Ouija boards, Bloody Mary, right? We did that when we were a kid, which that's another episode later on down the line. Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls, right? So like they definitely like to reference
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Right. So they definitely like to reference these kid games that they did that we've all been apparently doing for decades now. It's just a constant thing. Actually, I got bored one night. I think I went down a rabbit hole on Bloody Mary, and there's like a whole backstory to it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's definitely backstories in the cult and all that to everything. There isn't a whole lot I don't like about the episode because again, I'm a really big Stephen King mark, but I mean fan.
Whatever, you could be a mark, dude. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just more trying to like, not everyone knows what the term mark means. But there's not a whole lot I don't like about the episode other than the fact that they were trying to put 10 pounds of sausage into a 5-pound casing. It definitely feels cluttered. There's a lot going on in that episode. Like there's a lot of parodies. They could have dropped the B story entirely and made just the A story a 2-parter, and I don't think they would have ran out of material or felt like they were stretching it out.
I agree. I'll start it off. If I said the only thing I really disliked and I kind of mentioned it earlier, is the B storyline. I didn't think it was necessary for then Butters to have to say, I'm going to go home, and then he gets locked in a basement. Now, I like the lines from the milkman guy, better's better, and blah, blah, blah. But the whole story itself, to me, as you kind of mentioned there, it didn't need to be in this episode.
And I think they do it, and this, again, may have been better standing on its own episode, as its own episode for this reason. I think maybe they did it to explain how in the next episode Butters is back and his parents aren't, all freaked out. I think they put it in there too. Well, how do we explain Butters coming back?
That's a good point. I mean, it would have left a plot hole as well. So I understand that perspective. I guess to Matt and Trey's point, though, I definitely felt like it was a lot of ideas crammed into one then, right?
Yeah, and I completely agree with it, but to their credit, I think they pulled it off better than most. But this would be you guys slow down, if it were other entertainment forms of entertainment, you don't need to do so much next time.
Right, and then just a couple things, you kind of mentioned it. Some of my favorite parts in this episode, you, sir, have mocked Cartman before. I like that line, the death scene, and then Cartman goes, nice, after the cops and his mom are freaking out. That's funny. The scene, of course, with the pet cemetery guy. I do also like the dance. I do like the sleepover scene where the interaction between Butters and Cartman yelling at each other over the phone. And then I also like the end scene where Cartman says, think of the power, because I like that line. But that's probably what I liked about the episode. That's some of the positive takeaways. I already gave you maybe what I disliked. Joe told you what he liked and disliked. We gave you a full recap, trivia, pop culture. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of Suck My Ball. Suck My Ball. Suck My Ball. And shake my balls. Suck My Balls, a South Park review. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SuckMyBallsPod. Send us an email at suckmyballspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at South Park Pod. Link tr.ee/South Park Shows, our landing page. If you don't want to type in all that, just go Linktree South Park. It has a link to everything that we do. Of course, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm your host in the heat and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is so dry. Your boy, verified Matthew Scott Schaefer. You can follow me on Twitter, verified, at Matthew_Schaefer. You can also follow our boy, S to the COOP, at Toytastic_Voyage on Instagram. And then to you, the dirtiest, the Dr. Dirty Joe Vernola, future sponsor of Primo's Pro Wrestling Suck My Balls. Joe Vernola, what do you got coming up? I know that the big match is coming. It's getting ready. The 13th Daniel. 3, 2, the judge match.
Yeah, that weekend is September 17th and 18th. We should have tickets up.
Book your plane ticket now. Get to Colorado. It's going to be great weather. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. We will have the tickets up there pretty soon at the RoxyDenver.com. August 24th, we will be at the Roxy Denver for some bar fights. August 14th, we will be at the Roxy Denver for Gimmicked. You can get tickets for all of those events at the RoxyDenver.com. August 13th, New Era Wrestling, Mile High Comics off of Jason Street in Denver, Colorado. And August 20th, Colorado Springs Wrestling in Colorado Springs. August 21st, IWC Legacy is up in Westminster, Colorado. That has ECW original Pablo Marquez and Lucha Libre legend and WWE Hall of Famer Hugo Savinovich will be in the house.
And ladies and gentlemen, August 28th, if you're in Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, that's right. Go ahead. You can do it since...
August 20th, if you're going to be in Prescott, Arizona, Mr. Joe Vernola is coming to Arizona. And on that day, specifically speaking, all 3 members of the Suck My Balls podcast should be together to record an episode for the first time, all in person. We're excited. That might actually happen, provided that, everything lines up. Things happen. People have lives. I don't know. Scoop might fall off a tree, and then he can't come to the press kit. I don't know. Scoop does things, and then he gets himself hurt. Haha, we're clowning on you. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week on another edition of the Suck My Balls South Park Review Show, where we're going to follow that egg. It's an Easter special in August. So we hope you thank the Lord, you thank the Pope, and remember to just keep your fucking mouth shut and dye the fucking eggs. I'm Matthew Schaffer, verified. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. We'll see you next week on another edition of Check My Balls. Laters, guys.
Take a shot every time he says verified.
Yeah, take a shot every time I said verified on this episode.